Hi guys, Laura here. I just wanted to do a video about my favorite book series so far in 2014. A lot of these didn't actually start in 2014, but they've been a consistent love of mine. I thought I'd tell you guys why. The first one started way a long time ago, but it is obviously Harry Potter. The Harry Potter series. I started reading this when I was in 5th grade. I started reading 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I had to wait. And I just love this series. Ron Weasley is one of my favorite characters, and it's such a good world that J.K. Rowling built, and so interesting and fascinating. I really enjoy the series. I could reread it for years on end. I'm hopefully going to do a re-listen of it this year, and re-listen to it now that my library finally has the audiobooks that I can rent. My favorite book by far is book 7, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I felt like it just tied everything up so nicely and so neatly into a tight little bow, and, the ending was perfect. I was a big Ron and Hermione shipper. I still love them to death, and I was so happy that they finally got together. And all the little things worked out perfectly. I loved the last 3/4 of it, from when they walk through the portrait to the final battle. It just was such a good book. It will remain one of my favorite series for the rest of my life. I will also follow J.K. Rowling wherever she goes, which, is anywhere now, young adult crime literature, whatever. So I'm really excited to see where she goes. But this series will always hold a very important space in my heart because of that. The next series I love. It's kind of 3 series in one, but it's Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, and the Kane Chronicles. Percy Jackson was the first 5 books were just blew me away. I really love them. I love the character of Percy. He's probably one of my favorites. And I just love the incorporation of mythology and how, everything was kind of for a middle grade, but yet it just was so interesting and compelling, and you really took mythology and turned it into fun for kids. And I love when books do that, because I think in this day and age it's really hard to get kids to read, and I think he just made it so interesting and so fascinating. The wit, the humor, he had great chapter titles in those books, and just great one-liners, and the characters were all really witty. I love Annabeth. She is up there with Hermione in my head, and that's saying a lot, because I love the character of Hermione Granger. Annabeth Chase is just as brilliant, and it was a development of a very strong relationship between Annabeth and Percy, and I think that led you perfectly into the story that we're in now, which is Heroes of Olympus. And you really saw them both lean on each other and give them support and be strong when the other one was weak. And I think in some relationships it's so much not even, and I think that relationship is just one very, very even storyline. So that's something that I look for in a series, and it really progressed into Heroes of Olympus, which is what we're in now. Except now it's 2 camps collide, and Greek and Roman characters collide, which that means 2 different mythologies, and it's just one of his best works yet. I think House of Hades is by far one of my favorite books in that series, which just came out, and Blood of Olympus comes out in October. I got to see Rick Riordan speak earlier this year, and he just made it an awesome event. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how it ends. My favorite book is House of Hades in that series, and my favorite book is The Last Olympian in the Percy Jackson series. They're just so well crafted, and especially now with all these coming together, and everything just works perfectly. And I think it's such it's just a well crafted world that I think is very hard to find sometimes in literature. So again, just a great world, a great writer, a great voice, and also great characters. There's not one character in those books that I don't like. So it's just, it's a joy to read, and I'm re-listening to it right now, and I can't wait to get to the end of it, because it's such an interesting experience to listen to books too. So those are my 2 favorites. The next one is the Pretty Little Liars series by Shara Shepherd. I've started reading this after I watched the television show on ABC Family, and it's a lot different from the television show, but I love it. It's just twisted and mystery and scary and, all those fun things about mysteries. A little bit of a spoiler, there is a twin element into it, and I love books like that. I love twins. They've both always fascinated me. Um, so stuff like that is just really interesting. The characters are also really interesting. It's a little bit high concept, which it's not necessarily realistic, but everyone gets bullied. Everyone gets scared. So I think that that's kind of takes it more into reality. But yeah, I think she's on her 12th book, and she's coming out with a few new series this year, which I hopefully to review later on. I know the Heiress is one and the Perfectionist are the other, and the series is coming to an end, I think, in December. But yeah, no, it's I think my favorite book is Heartless. Just because it took one character and kind of turned it on our head, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't expect that to happen. But I love all the girls for different reasons. I really like the character of Spencer. I highly suggest you check it out. They're really, really quick reads, like I was saying about, they're like, maybe like 200 pages, but they're really good. I highly recommend that series and the author as well. One of the last ones, this is kind of a little bit more indie, but it's Lynn Flewelling's Luck in the Shadow series. The last one just came out. I haven't got my hands on it yet, but it's Luck in the Shadows series, which is about, it's much, much more fantasy based, much, much more magic based. It has some homosexual relationships in it, which I think is a very interesting take on it. But it's very magic based and an interesting system. It's kind of like medieval. The characters are really compelling, and you want to know what's going to happen next to them. And I've been reading this series for about 5 years, 6 years. So I'm really excited to get to the conclusion. I just have to buy it and officially read it, which is bittersweet because I've been reading the series for a while. She's a really good author. I hope she comes out with something new. I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm hopeful that it will pop up soon. But yeah, so that's so it's more of a medieval, kind of like an early version of Game of Thrones. But yeah, it's a very interesting read. I highly recommend it. The last series I recently got into is Joan Fuca's the Hannah Swenson Mystery Series. There's a lot of them right now. I've just finished reading the second one, and I'm about to start the third one. This is a little bit later, but I bought it about a few years ago and just had it on hand. But they are my perfect type of romances books. They have romance and mystery and food, which is really interesting. The whole baking element, the whole world was created. It's just really, really fun to read about. So I'm really excited to see where that series goes and to see about the romance development. But yeah, it's a very interesting series, and I never know who the killer is, and that's kind of hard to do to me because I can read pretty well like who's going to be the killer, but I haven't predicted it yet. And one honorable mention, I don't have the book with me right now, but it's the Piper Donovan series by Mary Jane Clark. It's also called the Wedding Cake Mystery Series. Right now there's 3 books out: to Love and to Kill, The Look of Love, and Dark Magic Mystery. They're all, again, it's same like the Joan Fuca series. It's very, very mystery based, but with a heavy romantic overtone. The reason I like these 2 series specifically is because they both carry through the books, like what happens, and they're not really like standalones, which I feel happens a lot of time in long time series, that books just don't have any connection to each other. They're just kind of the same characters, but these books definitely show a progression, like a progression through them. And I think that's very hard in long-time series. I want to give a shout out to all those authors and all the books that I've just mentioned. I hope you guys like my opinions, and if you don't, you can give your comments below. But thank you for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a nice day.